Good evening, and welcome to Solidarity on Tap. My name is Chris Kerr with the Ignatian Solidarity Network. On behalf of everyone at ISN, as well as our National Solidarity on Tap sponsors, Mary Noel Lay Missioners, the Jesuit Volunteer Corps, and Jesuit Volunteer Corps Northwest, thank you so much for joining us tonight. It's great to have you, great to see you back here at Solidarity on Tap. For over 15 years, the Ignatian Solidarity Network has been uniting the Ignatian family. That means the Jesuit network, as well as all those who are inspired to work for justice through the spiritual tradition of St. Ignatius of Loyola, to build a more just world through transformational programs and resources that deepen faith and lead to dismantling systematic injustice, collaborative initiatives that bridge divides and overcome exclusion, and collective action to defend and promote the inherent dignity of all God's creation, both people and planet. If you haven't already, please make sure to check out our website, ignatiansolidarity.net, and like and follow us on social media to get the latest advocacy alerts, educational resources, and much more. Now, many of you who have joined us before know this, but for those just joining for the first time, let me give you the background on Solidarity on Tap, okay? It didn't used to be like this. In the pre-COVID world, Solidarity on Tap usually took place in cities across the country, bringing together members of the Ignatian family and local bars and pubs to put the social in social justice. Powerful speakers address crowds of people from across the Ignatian network and in that local community, and it was a great event. But like many things, we moved virtual in late March, and it was a lot of fun, being virtual. So we decided to keep on doing it. And here we are, many months later. And even though we're gathering virtually, the goal of Solidarity on Tap remains the same: to invite people to enjoy fellowship, maybe with a drink in hand, and to hear powerful reflections from members of the network engaged in work for justice. And as always, in order to build and enjoy community tonight, I encourage you to utilize the comments section on Facebook or YouTube, or post to Twitter or Instagram with the hashtag ISNLive to let us know you, your school, your parish, your prayer group, or whoever are represented here tonight. All right. And you can also post your comments and questions for our guest this evening on either Twitter or Facebook as well. We want to hear from you. All right. Let us know you're out there, Ignatian family. I also just want to mention, as we gather tonight as an Ignatian family, we continue to pray for all people who are affected by COVID-19. We know that the case numbers here in the United States have really grown in recent weeks. So we pray for all those who are impacted by that, who are helping people impacted by COVID-19. We continue to pray for all those who've been victims of racism and racial inequity in our society, and for those who are working to overcome it. We pray for all those impacted by recent natural disasters, particularly our brothers and sisters in Central America who are experiencing the second of 2 hurricanes to hit the region in the past couple of weeks, and many others in our nation who are struggling and suffering, and for our country as a whole as we continue to heal from the election and the continued divisiveness that exists in our country. So we offer up all those prayers as we gather this evening. And we do so with hope, a hope that this Solidarity on Tap conversation can lead us toward a hope-filled future, can lead us towards something even better than where we are today. And so with this in mind, I'm really excited to introduce our guest tonight, Sister Peggy O'Neill. Sister Peggy's been living in El Salvador for the past 30 years, during which time she was an active member of the pastoral team at Santa Lucia Parish in Suchitoto. Now she's the director of the Centro Arte para la Paz, the Center of Arts for Peace, a regional educational and cultural center promoting peace through dance, art, and theological reflection. It's in Suchitoto, El Salvador. And Sister Peggy founded this healing space in 2006 and works toward building a culture of peace using the arts as a vehicle. A highly respected longtime peace activist, Sister Peggy has received many honors and awards, including the 2008 Peacemaker Award of the Congregation of the Sisters of St. Joseph of Peace, recognizing her many years of peace efforts in El Salvador and honoring her contribution to peacemaking and work for justice. Also in 2008, she received the Ciudadana Ilustre Award for her work on behalf of social and cultural development in Suchitoto. Sister Peggy earned a master's degree in theology from Marquette University and a doctorate degree in religious education from New York University. She's a lifelong educator, both in the U.S. and El Salvador. She served as an assistant professor at Augsburg College's Center for Global Education and at Santa Clara University's Casa de la Solidaridad program at the UCA in El Salvador. And for many years, she also served as an associate professor of at Iona College in New Rochelle, New York. And maybe most importantly, at least for us tonight, Sister Peggy was a keynote speaker at the 2013 and 2019 Nation Family Teaching for Justice event in Washington, D.C. And so we're really excited to welcome Sister Peggy here tonight. So Sister Peggy, thanks for being with us. It's so great to see you, great to reconnect. It was just a year ago, we were in Washington, D.C. You were talking to the crowd. I remember your microphone stopped working and you had to adjust and you just rolled with the punches. And then we got a chance to catch up afterwards at the bar as well. So here we are at the bar again. Cheers. I hope you've got a Pilsner there that you're enjoying there in El Salvador. There it is. There it is. That's great. Can you tell us a little bit about what life has been like for you and those who you work with and live in community with amidst, not only do you have a global pandemic, but you have had 2 hurricanes pass over or nearby El Salvador in the past few weeks. Can you talk a little bit about what life has been like in these recent months?
Well, first of all, I want to thank you, Chris. Everybody that listened to you knows I was going to appear looking like I look, an old lady, but a happy one. And really, it's really a pleasure for me to just share my world, because your world with all of the teaching students just keep energizing me. So I feel a little like you're like Anderson Cooper or one of these, we'll have a wonderful chance to just share each other's energy. And so to answer the first question, or I think the real question is, in the midst of all of this, why do we stay where we are? And I think, 2 hurricanes. I lived 7 years during the Civil War here. I started out in a refugee camp. But the more I reflect on people's ability to have uncommon courage, to have audacious hope, in the teaching that we were together at just a year ago, the title of the talk, and it was a formal talk, I went back and read it, but this is not a night for formal talks, but I really like to go back to the title. It's In the World of Darkness, or Any World of Darkness, we must befriend hope. Reflecting more and more on hope. Hoping it wouldn't hurt as Nicaragua as much as I know it has, these hurricanes. And Honduras is flooded and will never be the same again, because in one area they lost just 5,000 trees in a little town. So just hearing the news, but feeling the pain, letting it penetrate, knowing that if I don't die crying a little, I think the angels will want to know, Peggy, woe to you for dying or coming here without having known the pain of the world, because that is what at times is the only thing that connects us. And so I feel more connected to the people on my block, because we have survived, except for our worry that more will be hurt by the rains that have not stopped yet, and mudslides. So it's been a hard couple of weeks, but it's been a wonderful couple of weeks. I have celebrated the 40th anniversary of the founding of the Jesuit Refugee Service. And that is how I started out in El Salvador. I worked in the refugee camp alongside refugee service volunteers from England, Canada, the United States. And that was my introduction. And another thing I wanted to say, you asked about the COVID. You know, we're all now, I think, in this. Remember those people, we're all refugees right now. We are leaving what were our steady spaces, which were never perfect. We called it the norm, but it was never perfect. But we're all in the same boat. And I'm not talking about just people in else, I'm talking about the planet. We're all in the same boat. And, you know, who will be those that gather us in? How will we look at each other and realize, what do we do now that we have to move on, because this is what has happened to everybody. We're all in the same boat. And that's what started Pedro Arrupe to form the Jesuit Refugee Service Volunteer Corps. It was really the refugees from the Vietnam boat people is what really entered him with such pain that it changed the furniture of his insides. He changed the furniture for all the Jesuits, that they had to stop what they were doing if they weren't including, as part of their longing, ways to gather people in who needed new homes and new ways of living. Yeah.
Well, thanks for that. Well, we're glad that you're doing well and finding hope amid these challenging times. Now, you've been in El Salvador for over 30 years.
Yeah.
But how did you get there? Like, how does Peggy O'Neill from New Jersey end up in El Salvador? What's the story there?
Actually, a quick little story. I was asked by another sister of charity if I wanted to go to Chile to do a presentation on feminist theology. That sounded wonderful. But this gal, Sister Marilyn Thee, was on a sabbatical, and I said to her, well, in reality, I'm still teaching at Iona. I don't have that free time you do. She said, I'll wait. I think it would be better if we went together. Marilyn was a professor at Colgate University for about 35 years too. And so she was on this sabbatical and waited for me to join her. We both went to Chile and we met women working with poor women, and I fell in love with both groups of women. They were on the cutting edge. They listened with such alertness. And once you get awakened to what it does mean to be a woman in a certain context that needs transformation, whether you are helping the transformation and helping the transformation as you're being transformed by each other. I watched that as they listened to me and I learned from them. Marilyn and I did that another time. We went to Bolivia, we went to Peru, and we went to Chile. In Chile, it was part 2. And actually, who organized that with us was Maryknoll Sisters and their volunteers. So I want to thank the Maryknollers, who I always loved and continue to love. And you know, we had 2 Maryknoll martyrs here, 2 sisters, another sister who died tragically as well. And so they are revered in El Salvador, even though they were here for such a short period. This December 2nd will be a very special 30th year anniversary of their death. So but because of the pandemic, we will have to celebrate that differently too. But anyway, having done that twice, and I felt, well, I was in my 40s, but when I saw these women and these poor women, I wanted to be more like them when I grew up. And I decided, well, maybe if I stood where they stand, I will get more like them. And so that's what, I won't keep adding how it all happened and fell into place, but I did wind up here with 3 other sisters. So Franciscan sisters, actually, one I met in Chile. Mm-hmm. So that's how I came to El
That's great.
Salvador.
Yeah, and you came to El Salvador, or your initial arrival in El Salvador was a very tumultuous time in the midst of the Civil War. As you kind of look back on that time, are there memories that stick with you, or things that you still remember or struggle with, or maybe find joy in? Maybe there were experiences of joy as well. But what are some of the memories from that period of time that you were there?
Actually, I can read 2 sentences from this article. I actually
Great.
tell you why I've stayed, and I, of course, start from the beginning.
Yeah.
I may have to change glasses. No, I can read. It says here, clearly I carry images from the many years, images of pain and beauty, violence and tenderness, transformation, resiliency, and terror. It has been such a gift to share life so closely with these Salvadorans, to have been taken into their homes and hearts, to have been so trusted and so loved. The deep emotional bonds that formed through shared vulnerability during the war years cemented us, and the rebuilding after the peace accords kept feeding our dreams of a new day. So I have lots of memories of hope, of faith, of tenderness, of victory, of dreaming, of longing from deeper down levels of longing. I've come to define the word solidarity, solidaridad, because of a few experiences. One being when I was alone with a gang of people that were escaping from a military march through the area we were temporarily in, and afraid they would arrest some of us, not me, but some of the community. When I was with them, we had to get off a truck that we were moving on, a very large truck, and we couldn't right it when it went off the road. And I wound up with 2 other women, and I left everything I had on my back, my backpack on the truck, but the 2 other women ran with, one with nothing, and the other one carried a basket because she carried her baby with her and she needed things for the baby. To make a long story short, about 3 o'clock in the morning, we were all trying to sleep and wake up a little and then go back to sleep. And as we were waiting to see if the military would really come through, and we were in the middle of tall grasses trying to hide, about 3 o'clock in the morning, the mother with the baby opened the basket. She figured we were all awake and would chit-chat a little more, and she'd change the baby. And the first thing she took out of the basket was a stack of tortillas. And I was starving. I'm a nervous eater. And I looked at the tortillas and I wanted to grab one, but didn't. The woman next to me, she went like this, "Oh no, we can't eat your tortillas." She said, "You have to feed the baby. You'll be nursing. You have to keep up your strength. We don't know where we'll be tomorrow." And I was glad I didn't take one. But anyway, the woman with the tortillas saw this gesture, and then she did this gesture. She said, "Oh no," she said, "tonight we share our food. Tomorrow we share our hunger." I knew then the deep meaning of solidaridad. Gioganda Beji, a Nicaraguan poet, says, "Solidaridad is the tenderness among peoples, the way we touch each other. It's not just a little compassion, as you see something very hard to look at on the television. It's letting it penetrate." We did share the food, and we did share the hunger as we wondered all night. We were hungry to know, would we be okay? And the hunger of carrying that baby, taking turns as we walked hours to find our way back. And so images like that, somebody sharing a grape, half a grape with me on the back of a pickup truck. As we're going down to help people in 2001, there was a terrible earthquake in Santa Tecla. 585 people died that day. And we were going, that was the first part of the earthquake. In the area I went to, 585 people died from landslides from the volcano. And we were going to help. And, we were doing that for days, but help not to rebuild, help just to bring water and beans and rice. And one little girl in the pickup truck had a grape. And she crawled back to me and gave me half a grape. Well, I realized I had just been at Eucharist, fruit of the vine and work of human hands. She's with her dirty finger breaking half a grape and giving it to me. And so those are the kinds of images in the midst of this pain. If you look at the withinness of these events, you really see more than what most people can see unless they do that kind of looking. So I saw and felt joy and sorrow and pain, but always hope, because that's how the people felt. Yeah. Does that make any sense?
Yeah. That makes a lot of sense. Yeah. And the story, I've heard you tell the story of the tortillas and the grape a number of times, and it really broadens my vision of the idea of solidarity. I think oftentimes we take a very northern hemisphere mindset of solidarity and focused on a very one-directional mindset of solidarity. And that story is beautiful. That a mother with a young baby could be just as much caring for you as you were seeking to care for her in that moment. A deep sense of connectedness that existed during that time. Thank you for sharing those stories. I know those were challenging times to live. They had to be challenging times to live through, and so there's a lot there. I wanted to share. There's a wonderful crowd watching tonight, so I wanted to give some shout outs to folks that are with us tonight. So it's crazy how many folks are from all over the place. So. Jeannie is joining us from St. Peter Claver in Huntington, West Virginia. Welcome, Jeannie. Mary Kay is joining us from Columbia, Maryland. Let's see, Irene. Irene is joining us from Cincinnati, from Xavier University in Cincinnati. Welcome, Irene. Great to see you. Jeannie from St. Ignatius Loyola Parish in Sacramento, California. Karen said, missed the last few weeks, but hello from the Lay Missioners. Welcome back, Karen. Glad to have you. Nicholas joining us from San Francisco. Welcome. Jason from Washington, D.C., a Regis University alum in Denver there, and alum of the CASA program. Welcome, Jason. Thanks for being with us. Kyle, excuse me. Sister Peggy has been one of my most formative mentors in my life. I'm so grateful for her witness, for her ministry, for her humor, and most of all for her love. Thanks, Sister Peggy.
Thank you, Kyle.
Kelly's joining us from San Diego. Welcome, Kelly. The Coleys are joining us from Cuyahoga Falls, Ohio. Welcome to them. Thanks for being with us. Amber, who's a FJV and a CASA alum, USF alum, joining from the Bay Area. Welcome. Sarah, welcome from Canisius College in Buffalo. A big Ignatian family welcome, she says. Justin says, hello, Ignatian family. Justin's joining us from Baltimore. I know that because I know Justin. Katie is a CASA alum, says so much love for Sister Peggy. Megan says, such a gift to be with Sister Peggy tonight. She is the best teacher and theologian I know. Abrazo, te quiero mucho, hermanas Peggy. Excellent, welcome. Barbara says, hello from Scranton. Welcome, Barbara, great to have you with us. Let's see, we got a few more folks. Oh my gosh, there's so many folks tonight. Tom says, greetings from St. Anne Parish in Washoe, Wisconsin. Welcome. Katie says, where are my spring, this is a shout out, where are my spring 2006 CASA loves? Katie's a John Carroll University alum. I know that as well. So welcome, Katie. We're glad to have you with us. Nina says, hi, Sister Peggy. My friend Will and I are from Ann Arbor. We visited you in El Salvador in March with St. Mary's Student Parish. Excellent. So many great folks with us tonight. So thank you. Please keep sharing. If you have questions for Sister Peggy, please keep sharing them so that we can post some of them as we go along here. Now, Sister Peggy, can you just tell us a little bit more about the Centro and the work that happens there? You talk about it as it being a place of healing, and healing's been a word that's actually been used a lot lately here in the U.S. around the context of the election. But I think there's a certain intensity of experience that El Salvador had during the 80s and for many years, really, where healing was something that was deeply needed. Can you talk about what happens at the center, how healing happens there, how art is an integral part of that?
I'd be happy to. This is my latest passion. I've been here for 34 years. And so I've gone through different kinds of ministries or works, clearly. During the war, accompanying people. After the war, post-war is working with women. During the war as well, our excuse, so that the military wouldn't send us away. Our excuse, okay, I had a little internet problem. But anyway, our excuse was that we were going out to these rural communities to work with catechists, and really did work with the women. But we were talking about what it means to be a woman in this context. In any context, in every context, feminism was born during this time. Women realized that they held the world together. And they really took away our fear. And I heard them say every now and then to a person in the marketplace, when the sisters came, they took away our fear. We were giving each other the energies needed to be able to do our best wherever we were standing. And so anyway, we worked with women for many years. We founded the Concertación de las Mujeres. We helped planting the archdiocese. We were facilitators of the diocesan shipment of materials so people could rebuild their lives post-war. Even during the war that happened in 1987, we had thousands come back from refugee camps to be a part to keep the movement alive. And the churches all supported that, the Lutheran Church, the Catholic Church, a small wing of the Baptist Church, and the Anglican Church. And anyway, what finally happened, we realized about 12 years ago, across the street from where we were living, there was an abandoned school property and an old chapel. And it was abandoned for 25 years. The school was built in 1914 by Dominican sisters. And then they built the school because the bishop wanted land that they had in the capital to build a parish. And so it was a land swap. He said, oh, we have land in Suchitoto. You can build a school there. So they came in 1914. But when they came, the only building standing was an old chapel from the 1840s. In 1980, these sisters went out. That was the year they murdered Monsignor Romero. That is when the war doesn't start in 1 year. It leads up to something really big, and then it continues publicly. But in 1980, when they murdered Monsignor Romero, that was really like the beginning in a public way. And the sisters went out to open the doors or the gates of the school, and there were mutilated bodies at the entrance, so they had to leave. That was their death threat. And they closed the school in 9 hours and left and never came back. And we lived across the street from 1987 on. I'm still in the same house, looking at a school gradually decaying from non-use in the Civil War, and watching an 1850s chapel even grow older quicker. And anyway, about 10 years ago, we went to the sisters and said, are you coming back? Can we work together? There were still 2 of us here, myself and Sister Farrell. And they said, we don't have the money to make it safe to re-enter or to rebuild it. They were rebuilding 2 schools in Guatemala that had just survived a war. So they said, no, we can't. But if you want to use it, go ahead. You can use it this year and do what you want to do. And this is what we wanted to do. We realized that we had really done a lot for youth vis-a-vis building schools after the war. getting textbooks. There really were no things such as notebooks or textbooks in the Campo area. Mothers still made out of a brown paper notebooks so kids could write, and they'd sew these brown paper sheets together. And so anyway, we realized that, yes, we had focused on school, we had focused on normal learning, but kids were being born. Now I'm talking post-war, not even alive during the war, but they were born into the war sadness and the war rebuilding and the war questioning. Why are there so few of my uncles and aunts and cousins? They all kept hearing war stories, losses, realizing too that not much was changed. They were still poor. There were still so few options. And of course, they had this in their memory bank. These were the stories that surrounded them. And they really didn't stand tall, because most of the people here were originally poor. They worked on haciendas. They fled because they were the ones looking for change, and they were the ones that nobody wanted here from the governmental side. And so anyway, they went to, many of these young people were born in Honduras and came back here because that's where the refugee camp was that they went to. Some of them went to the capital, the refugee camp where I was in, as a Jesuit refugee service volunteer. But anyway, we realized that these young people carried sadness. They had more trauma, even though they weren't alive during the war. And so we realized that maybe this is what we would use this school building for, that somehow we would work and focus on youth and focus on the need for us to help them touch their memories with sadness. You can't erase them. You can learn to manage them. You can touch them gently. You can carry them and realize that even with all you carry, you can become a full human being. And we realized that maybe now, how can we do this gently as well? And so we decided the vehicle for us to help them find personal peace and build cultural peace would be using the arts, using art and music and dance, and always doing historical memory, focusing on that. And I remember when we took our kids to the Capitol once or twice, one or two of them, like, for instance, to visit the tomb of Monsignor Romero, or where he was murdered. And people would say, now, where do you come from? And when they said Suchitoto, their head was down. Everybody knew they were probably the rebel family's children, and they didn't know how people would react to that. So there was not a sense of, I'm from Suchitoto. They were carrying something they knew was heavy, and they didn't know how people would receive them. So we decided that what we would do would be to try to use art and music and dance for them to realize that with all they carry, they can still see all that they are and can become and can share with others. And so their self-esteem, now they walk home with a guitar on their back or holding a trumpet or a clarinet. They can't carry home the pianos, but they go home and they're walking through the streets saying, without saying a word, I'm a guitarist. The older I get, and I keep getting older, does that happen to all of us? But the older I get, the more I realize what I really have to do is become more human. Anything that can help me become more fully human, go for it, Peggy. Go for it. The energies. I pig out on life, Peggy. Go for it. Make mistakes. Make interesting ones. You're going to make them, but go for it. And that's what's happening. We hoped that if they could find personal peace, they would also find communal, help build a culture of peace. I'm feeling so connected to this culture because it helps me connect to all the cultures that have shaped me. For instance, in this little article, as I finished writing it, I realized in this, George Scott, this not able to breathe, and the whole world feeling that pain, and knowing that the Civil War is 400 years of healing, and we're not healed, don't even want to focus on it. And our peace accords, 28 years already. Will be 29 years after, and we're still trying to heal these young people who weren't even born yet. We can't stop trying to look at these systems that keep us separated, the rich from the poor, by race, by color, by jobs, by what. We all need to realize we're connected. There are no strangers. We're all connected. The creator, that energy, that the life force in me, is. Well, let me backtrack. I'm 81, going to be 82. And sometimes in my prayer in the morning, I just sit there and say, I am. Peggy, I still am. I evolved to never stop evolving. And, I'm helping this God who becoming more God. God's evolving. Everything's evolving. Sometimes we don't even let God be all that God wants us to be, this energy that starts it all. We all have the same DNA, or the ADN, as we call it here, ADN. We're all connected. I'm connected to my dog. I'm connected to the trees. If I can see the within this and feel the energies, And I think that's what the doctrine of the Trinity talks about. It talks about God being relationship. It's all about relationship. And how are we relating? We're all in the same boat now because of COVID. This is another chance we have. We're all in the same boat. What will we do about the systems that have kept us apart? And this is a dialogue. I'm sorry, but that's really right now.
Speaking of connected, I want to share a few more folks that are out there watching. Just share that they're there. So Himelda has joined us from Colombia, and the country of Colombia in South America. So welcome to Himelda. Yeah. And Bridget says, greetings from South Texas. Welcome, Bridget. Thanks for being with us. Genevieve says, sending love from Genevieve in New Jersey. Welcome. Great to have you with us. Leo says, Leo and Janet, who are parents of Joanna, who love you and the people of El Salvador dearly since her semester at the Casa. So wonderful to have them. Megan's mom, watching from Megan's hometown, Ellicott City, Maryland. Such a blessing to see Sister Peggy hear those thoughtful words. Another Casa alum, Stephanie, says, thank you, Sister Peggy, for sharing with us tonight. Shout out to Spring 27 and the Houston FJV. So welcome. Susan says, blessings to you on your ministry in El Salvador. Joseph says, Peggy, missed you so much. My Jersey sister. Your words of wisdom over the years have helped me become more and more human. Much love to you from Managua. So welcome. And then also another guest from El Salvador, Francisco Mena, says, hola, hermana Peggy. So right there in El Salvador. And Mike Hayes says, my hero, Sister Peggy, greetings from my new home in Cleveland, Ohio. So wonderful to have so many folks with us. Keep those shout outs coming. We'll try to recognize a few more folks. And if you have a question for Sister Peggy, we hope to get to a few of those. Sister Peggy, I'm going to give you a chance to take a quick break. I'm just going to do a few short announcements here about some upcoming chances to connect with the Ignatian Solidarity. Yep, drink up. There you go. Very good. All right. So I want to share a few ways that you can connect with the Ignatian Solidarity Network. The first one, as we prepare for the Christmas season this year, or as we prepare for Christmas, I guess, during the Advent season, we invite you to join the Advent Simplicity Challenge from November 29th to December 24th. You'll learn ways to care for people and the planet and to live simply in a season that is normally filled with mass consumption. You can register at igsol.net, that's igsol.net/Advent. The link is here on the screen. And we have actually another opportunity related to the Christmas season. In the days leading to Christmas, we also invite you to join Virtual Posadas, a journey with the Holy Family and asylum seekers from December 16th to the 24th. Virtual Posadas will lead you through a daily virtual experience of music, art, prayer, reflection, and action as we journey with the Holy Family and migrants at the U.S.-Mexico border. Join at igsol.net/posadas. That's igsol.net/posadas. And the link there is on the screen. And you can also find the links to these two campaigns right in the comments section if you're joining us on Facebook here tonight. So make sure to check those out. We hope you'll sign up and walk with us in those journeys during this Advent and Christmas season. And now let me tell you about our sponsors, a wonderful group of sponsors that we're so grateful to. First, the Mary Nolay Missioners, who work internationally with those at the margins for a more just, compassionate, and sustainable world. To learn more about their work, join their Meet a Missioner Monday live streams on their Facebook page every Monday at 11 a.m. Eastern Time. So we hope you can join one of those Meet a Missioner Monday special events. Secondly, the Jesuit Volunteer Corps, JVC, is a full-time volunteer program that works for social justice while exploring spirituality and faith through a framework of Catholic Ignatian values for individuals between 21 and 35 years of age. You can learn more about JVC at jesuitvolunteers.org. And finally, JVC Northwest, Jesuit Volunteer Corps Northwest, which is focused on the core values of community, simple living, social and ecological justice, and spirituality and reflection. JVC Northwest is a national direct AmeriCorps program serving in 24 locales across Alaska, Idaho, Montana, Oregon, and Washington. You have to be 21 or over to be eligible for JVC Northwest, and you can learn more at jvcnorthwest.org. We also invite you to join us for future Solidarity on Taps in 2021. We're going to take a break in December and enjoy the Christmas or Advent season. So we'll see you in 2021 for Solidarity on Tap. You can keep an eye on future events at igsol.net/SOT, which stands for Solidarity on Tap. If you like the conversation with Sister Peggy this evening and want to share it or watch it again, don't worry. All right, it's being recorded right now. We press record, and tonight's conversation and all our previous Solidarity on Tap videos are available at ignatiansolidarity.net or on our YouTube and Facebook pages. So make sure to check those out. There's some great archived Solidarity on Tap events. Also, if you enjoy Solidarity on Tap, please consider giving a gift to sustain the work of the Ignatian Solidarity Network. And you can do that at ignatiansolidarity.net/donate. I also want to remind you that you can share a picture of yourself watching or having a Zoom or virtual watch party. Share it to your Instagram account and tag at Ignatian Solidarity. And make sure to use that hashtag ISN Live. We want to feature you in our next Instagram story. All right, so don't forget to take a picture and post it on Instagram. Now I want to get back to Sister Peggy, and we've got some questions coming from folks out and about. The first one I wanted to ask actually came from Sarah, who we mentioned earlier. Sarah's in Buffalo, says, Sister Peggy, I loved hearing you talk over the years about the idea of midwives. You'd ask immersion participants what they wanted to give birth to. My question to you tonight is, what are you creating and birthing these days?
Oh, wonderful. Yeah, Buffalo. I love Buffalo, not for the wings. I love Buffalo for Canisius College. They gifted me with an honorary degree, and they came, and we still have the computers that they donated to our laboratory. But what am I birthing? I think what I really need to do now is to connect better for our students who are of all ages now, because we have a wing of our school that's also an emotional wing, meaning we have classes like Discipline with Love, bringing back the joy of living when we have been living through such gang activity. So anyway, we have people of all ages in art classes, etc. Especially yoga classes and karate classes. What I really think we have to do is connect peace and art. And it's kind of like circles growing, unfolding. And what I mean by that is not that art creates peace. Art helps us be more human. Again, it's all about what can help me become more human when I recognize creativity, the gift of being human. How are we going to connect with young people peace and art and peace? And so we've designed classes. I want to give birth to that being something really felt. That the gift of being human. Don't talk about human being. One time I had a student that actually wrote on the board B-E-A-N, human being. The gift of being human. It's a movement. Everything is a movement. And when what we really need is to have something touch us in our deepest part of being human. When we listen to sounds and see colors and see the withinness of the sounds. And so I think that's what I want to give birth to in 2021. These classes that help me see this ever-growing circle of art and peace and culture and peace.
Thank you for that. That was beautiful. We have a few other folks. Pat wanted to say, great to see you, Peggy. Love, Pat. So B said, hola, Sister Peggy. Dick Howard said hello. I'm a Spring Hill alum and an FJV. El Salvador is a special place for me. Larry says, thank you, Sister Peggy, for your ministry. CASA 2006 and Mary No Lay Missionary in El Salvador. So hello to Larry. And Jen says, love from New Orleans. Your teachings are with me every day, representing CASA Fall 2007. A great showing for the CASA program tonight. So Kevin and Trina would be proud to see that. Maybe they'll get a chance to check it out. We had another question. This came from our folks in the who are watching in Los Angeles. They said, thank you for your work. How would you recommend that we embrace the refugee experience at this time? What fruits can we hope to receive?
Again, I think our image of God is always too small. Our image of God is always too small. God stands for that which is this creative energy that produces this universe. The universe is the ecstasy of God. The ecstasy of God. And so what we really have to do, I think, is to realize that what it means to be human is to embrace. What it means to be human is to make love. What it means to be human is to make fists when they need to be told that this is not loving behavior, we're protesting. What I think we need to do is to somehow realize that the more I can realize what am I standing on? What are my roots? What are your roots? What do you stand on? I entered a culture that was totally different. And I had to seep into the culture. I had to look with eyes that were more widely because I didn't understand the language. People gave me the chance to move slowly and to embrace me. I have been a refugee. But we are all refugees now. How are we going to help ourselves? Let's remind each other how we are all refugees right now. Refugees don't just come walking from Central America or going on boats from Africa. We are all on this planet refugees. The planet is a refugee wanting to emerge with all it can give. And so how do we begin to think differently about the word refugee? We are all, right now, in the context of being refugee. Let it seep in and look at others as they're working hard to be themselves in a new context. Does that help?
That was great. Yeah. We'll go to a little bit more of a more practical question. Karen said, from our watch party, Melissa asked, how is the remodeling going at the Art Center? And how have you had to change your program since COVID? Have you been able to continue your work in that way?
I've had a hard time during COVID, like every person who runs a building and an institution. How do I pay my workers when there's nobody coming in? And the money came in for all our classes. All our classes are on, people watch them on telephones. Our young people, I have watched them on Facebook, but most of our people don't have internet, so it's little telephones or WhatsApp or some nothing at all. But half of our students have been not missing classes, and that's over 300 because we have anywhere from 600 to 800. The building that's going to help us came on May 21st this year. I got a phone call that a project I wrote to help me build something in the old 1840s church, which we already have a new roof on, and we're waiting to put on a new floor. We are now putting in the electricity. That is going to help us be able to have more autosostenibilidad. We'll be self-sustaining. We can have events there. It's going to be a multi-purpose center. I think everything is prayer, depending on our intention. If you sing, if you dance, if you play an instrument, if you read your poetry, if you act a drama, if you go like this, it may mean in the name of the Father, etc. It may mean in the name of the bees and the birds and the butterflies. We are all connected with that life force we call God. And so what we're doing right now is putting in the electricity. We are connecting, we have 2 posts, and I need to pay for the floor. I'm going to buy new fans. I hope we can be open in 6 months, believe it or not. And if you visited here, come for the opening. Our young people will have a beautiful week of presentations. You know, we have violins and cellos and marimba, and we need help. I don't know how I'm going to finish it all. I'm not sure we'll have the doors finished. I'm not sure if we'll be able to finish the floor. But I did get a huge donation for the electrical, where that's going to be in place maybe by Christmas. I hope so. Yeah. Heal us. I'm looking for healing partners. I'm looking for healing partners. You know, do it by your prayer. Do it by your positive energies that just send them south. Or do it by your dollars too. But take care of his network. You know, I'm grateful to the Jesuits too. So we'll keep Ignatian Solidarity Network alive as well. Yeah.
Amen. Amen to that. A collective amen. We have another question. Megan asked, Sister Peggy, what have you read or watched lately that has been life-giving?
I've been reading a lot of Beatrice Bruto, and I've been reading more about evolution. You know, it's not just something in the backdrop. I'm evolving. You know, everything's evolving. And when I mean that, I mean God is evolving. I mean we are all Theotokos. We are all God bearers. God is using me to evolve. God becomes what God loves. God becomes me. God becomes us. Through us, God keeps becoming God. You know, we have trespassed on the fullness of God. Let God be God. Let love be love. You know, when the power of love, that is what will heal the world. That's why I'm a sister of charity, toward boundless charity, towards boundless loving. It sounds so idealistic, but it's so real. It's so real.
Sounds like Jimi Hendrix. That's who it sounds like.
It is Jimi Hendrix. Yeah, it's his song. Yeah.
Yeah. Sister Peggy, before we finish up tonight, we often ask our guests, Solidarity on Tap, a question. You've touched on this a little bit, but I think this question, I think we need to keep asking it, especially in these times. As you think about, you know, the past, especially the past few months, and thinking into the future, what gives you hope? What gets you out of bed and gives you hope for the day and for the future as you continue your ministry and your work?
The young people and the people my age who can put, let's say, some stories around what's happening from other contexts. Like, for instance, I've come to pray so differently, and I have to listen to what gives the young people the strength. I know, Chris, I can die. My nieces and nephews, a few of them are there. There are an awful lot of my nieces and nephews who I call such because they were in my program of the Casa de Solidaridad. They're there. They teach in kids. They bring me hope. The people that come in and out of my class and schools, if you know what these people who work for me are paid, and it's really survival, but they survive with a smile on their face, and they give thanks. So I think if we develop an attitude of gratitude for what we can become, if we live together, we have to live in solidaridad. You know, we all need buddies. Even Jesus needed a gang. Gandhi did not walk to the ocean alone. You know, Martin Luther King. You know, he had crowds crossing the bridges with him in Alabama. Mm-hmm. You know, what really changed the life of Pedro Arrupe, that Jesuit whom I know will be beatified soon, or sainthood soon. What changed him was his being in Hiroshima and looking at that bomb smoke, not just on a television or in a movie house. And he went home and knelt down and knew and said to the seminarians, we got to change the furniture in this room. It is now an infirmary, even though we don't have any medicine. We'll do all we can. And I know it's because his own inner furniture was changed. That changed him. Let this moment change us and realize it's because of systems that keep us apart. It's money that keeps us apart. It's old stories that keep us apart. We're all connected. We are all connected. So that gives me hope. Yeah.
Great. Thank you. And thank you so much for
vitamin C. Vitamin C gives me hope.
Vitamin C, yes. Yes.
That gives me hope. Give me the energy I need to. And being loved by people like you. You know, your energy, you create me. You know, you're that life force you have creates me and I create you. And that's why I'm kind of a big social project. So keep sending me letters and all these kinds of, whatever you call these platforms we're looking at. I don't understand any of this, but I love it because it makes us more connected. I'm connected to some of my nieces and sisters right now, and I'm just so happy. So thank you so much for this opportunity.
Well, thank you. And the sense of, you know, the sense of connectedness tonight, to have so many folks watching who have had a chance to get to know you over the years and feel connected to your work and your ministry in El Salvador. It felt like, I know during these times it can feel, we can all feel very disconnected, but I felt a great sense of community and of network, and we're so grateful for your continued partnership and to walk with you together in this journey. So it's great to be with you tonight. It's great to see you. We'll continue to keep the people of El Salvador and especially the Centro in our prayers. And so thank you so much, Sister Peggy. And thanks to everyone for joining us tonight. As I mentioned, if you liked our conversation tonight, make sure you can share it with friends or others on our YouTube or Facebook pages or on ignatiansolidarity.net. And we look forward to seeing you at Solidarity on Tap in 2021. Thanks to everyone and have a great night.
Ciao. Blessings. Okay.